big league. Huge. Really large.
I have a feeling it's going to be beautiful.
Welcome to Texas.
Big league. Big, huge.
Per capita, the biggest in the whole country. Nobody would know that.
I always call it massive. Sometimes they say huge.
Welcome to Texas.
All right, welcome back to the Big Texas Podcast presented by Texas Young Republicans. I'm your host, Jordan Overturf, coming to you today from my kitchen. The podcast studio is under renovation officially. We're excited to bring you a whole new studio setup. But until then, here we are, just, trucking along as you do. My guest this week is Cassy Garcia. She is the Republican candidate running for Congress in CD 28. They're challenging entrenched Democrat incumbent Henry Cuellar. Henry has been there for almost 20 years now, I think, 2005, Cassy said. And he has been in border politics for about 36 years now. And so this is an opportunity for Republicans to finally send a message to D.C. that the votes there along the border are not going to be bought, certainly not by the student debt buy-down that Biden announced this week. And we'll get into that and more. But before we do, as always, got a little housekeeping to do. This weekend, August 26th through 28th, we're going to CD 15 for Monica De La Cruz. She's going to be on the podcast next week. Looking forward to having her be a guest. September 9th through 11th for Wesley Hunt. This is a national deployment to CD 38. We're going to make sure that Wesley gets to Victory Lane this time around. Again, September 9th through 11th. Following that, September 16th through 18th for Cassy Garcia, our guest today. Amazing guest. She's got all that energy. Go down to CD 28, find out what she's about, meet her personally, get some of that energy in your life. October 14th, this is a regional weekend of action. Make sure you contact your local YR chapter or your local county GOP club, campaigns, find out what you can do to get involved, go block walking, making phone calls, stuffing envelopes, whatever you got to do to help us build this red wave. October 21st to 23rd, another national deployment to Georgia for Herschel Walker, the candidate for U.S. Senate. We are joining the national YRs for this deployment. They're going to come here for Wesley. We're going to go to Georgia and help out Herschel. Finally, October 28th through 30th, your Congresswoman and mine, Mayra Flores. We want to give her a full term, and so we're going to help her as our final deployment of the cycle, October 28th through 30th. Make sure you head to texasyr.gop for information on these deployments and more that we have going on. Make sure you sign up for the deployments. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TexasYRs. Thank you so much to Cassy for joining us. This is an amazing interview, our first candidate interview under the relaunch, bringing it back. So excited to talk to her and about the energy that she is building in her district. I'm going to go ahead and get out of the way. Cassy Garcia, y'all. Cassy, thank you so much for joining us. You are actually our first ever candidate on this relaunch of the podcast. So kudos to you for being first one out of the gate. For those who don't know about you and this exciting campaign that you are running there in CD 28, can you just give us a quick background on you, where you come from, why you got into this race?
Yeah, so I'm honored to be your first on this revamp of the podcast. So I'm Cassy Garcia, and I'm so honored to be with you and for the listeners today. Just a little bit about me. I grew up in Edinburgh, Texas. I've lived there 37 years. So I was born in Oklahoma, but my parents moved down to the Rio Grande Valley. So I've been raised down there. I went to high school. I went to college down there. Got my master's down in the district. I started my career working for city government for the city of McAllen 17 years ago, and so I've been down there. I haven't moved. I have brothers and sisters who have moved from the Rio Grande Valley, moved up to San Antonio and Dallas and Houston. But I'm the firstborn, so I was closer to my parents, so I decided to stay down there. Like I said, I've 17 years of public service. I love helping people out. My last gig was working for Senator Ted Cruz as his deputy state director right down in McAllen, Texas. And so I'm honored to give back. I'm honored to help people. But you know what? We talk about when you're complaining about things that are not going right in the country, or whether it's, whether it's local or school boards, instead of sitting back on the sidelines, I said, you know what? Let me jump in this fight. Let me run for Congress. Let me put my name on the ballot. And when everyone said that it could not be done, and said, when I announced that I was going to run, they said, wait a minute, you're running against Henry Cuellar? Are you crazy? I'm like, no, I'm not. So here I am today in an exciting race. We are a D+3, toss-up C. There's real energy, and people are excited after Myra Flotus's win on June 14th. People are so excited about our races down here in South Texas between Monica De La Cruz, Myra, and myself.
Yeah, and we're going to have Monica on next week. This weekend is Monica's deployment, which is a great segue into the reason you're one of our guests, is YRs are going to be doing a deployment for you. I believe it's in the San Antonio area. So for those who don't know about the district, can you kind of explain the territory they cover? Because you have one of the larger districts. You and Tony Gonzalez are like almost neck and neck in terms of the territory of Texas that you have to cover.
Yeah. So it starts in the Rio Grande Valley. So Starr County, which is Rio Grande City and Roma, then goes up to Zapata. You got Jimha, Duval, goes up the border to Laredo, McMullen, Atascosa, a little bit of Bexar County, and Guadalupe County. So Monica and I share Guadalupe County there. And so it's 9 counties, and it's a lot of driving, but it's been so exciting. To be able to go around and talking to voters. And we're so excited about the deployment, and some great news on Saturday, tomorrow, which is my birthday. We are also, which I don't like to celebrate my birthday, but tomorrow on my birthday, we are opening our campaign headquarters tomorrow in Schertz, Texas. So we're so excited. We're inviting the community to come out to have donuts and breakfast tacos and some tamales with us. And as we do our campaign kickoff as of 74 days until Election Day.
Yeah, the heat is on now, and happy early birthday to you. This is amazing. Coming on the podcast, early birthday celebration. We just got wins all around. So I want to get into some of the issues that voters in your district are particularly concerned about. And obviously one of the ones that everyone is talking about at the moment, Joe Biden's big announcement, $300 billion to cancel student debt. I just want to, first off, get your reaction to this announcement, and, what are you already hearing from voters on this issue?
So talking to people, when the announcement came out, was it 2 days ago? It's not fair to those who, and I know he's trying to do this because it's like midterms, he wants to have some kind of victory because they've had so many failed policies, but this is another failed one too. The fact that there's so many people that have paid off their student loans, and I'm still paying off my student loans. Right now they're on a pause because of COVID, but I'm still continuing to pay on my student loans. So it's not fair to those who've worked really, really hard, and even for those who couldn't even afford to go to college. I chose to go to school right down the Rio Grande Valley because I had options to go elsewhere, but I knew it was going to be expensive. I knew I was going to have to be responsible to pay those student loans. So I went somewhere where I thought, you know what, I'm still going to have student loans, but I'm going to be able to pay these off, at a reasonable amount. So it's not fair. It's money's coming from somewhere. So I think this is ridiculous. And it's something that Henry Cuellar, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi are catering to the elites. And it's unbelievable. People are outraged and just upset about it. I've been getting flooded by emails and text messages to our website saying how disturbed they are by Joe Biden's announcement.
So one of the big discussions around this is that folks like Dan Crenshaw, other conservatives are stepping up and saying that Biden doesn't have the authority to do this massive of a spending measure without Congress. From your perspective, as someone who's running to be in Congress representing Texas, as this information was coming out, how would you have gotten active in the fight to stop this?
Yeah. So we need, at the end of the day, we need real reforms. We truly do. I think we need to support programs like trade schools, dual enrollment programs, even we do dual enrollment programs to allow students to figure out what they want to do when they get to college. I think college is not for everybody. I think we need welders out there. There's specialty programs that we need to make sure that we're also promoting as well. But we need to take a step back and look. And that's why I can't wait to win the seat come this November so that so we can dig into these issues that, Democrats have been talking for so long. And so I'm so excited about getting this because there needs to be true reform. I don't think we need to do a bailout. There's so many, what does that mean? Is it new students that have just graduated, that have just gotten their student loans, or is it for those who've been paying? There's been some just talk about, is it 20,000, is it 10,000, so there's a lot of questions up in the air, and I can't wait to see the full report. Exactly what does that mean? But Joe Biden, President Biden he can't be doing this. And so I can't wait to dive more into this. I think Fox News was covering this morning that something may not even happen for the next couple of weeks or months.
Yeah. So this could just, and this very well could be just, a propaganda push ahead of the election. And then, we see down the road kind of like, certain mandates that suddenly disappeared because they were also found to be unconstitutional. The CDC backing off of its recommendations. It seems like the Biden brand right now is, getting it wrong out of the gate on just about every issue.
You're right. There's so many failed policies out there. So they're like, okay, we'll deliver on this because you got AOC breathing down their necks right now to do something because they're talking about how they're going to lose so many seats, and they're going to lose seats. We are going to take back the majority come this November.
Well, and of all these failed policies, right, there's a lot of assumptions that are made elsewhere around the country. We saw the First Lady come down and try and speak to the Hispanic community and fail completely, right? Joe Biden hasn't been to the border. There is zero interest in actually reaching the folks who are down there living these lives and having to deal with the direct consequences of these failed policies. So for those of us who don't live on the border, who don't want to assume what your daily lives are like, what are the issues that your folks down there, in Starr County, Hidalgo, Guadalupe, all along the border, what are the issues that are really driving them right now?
Right. So that's a great question, and not just on the border, but talking through to the voters all throughout the district. The top concerns are the economy, inflation, and securing our southern border. It's absolutely insane to see how this administration has disregarded, securing our border. All they have to do is just enforce the laws on the books. We're looking at 2 million apprehensions, 400,000 gotaways, the amount of fentanyl and drugs that are pouring across, the amount of inhumane of people that are dying. We had a mother with 3 children cross the Rio Grande and Eagle Pass, lost grip of her children, and 2 are dead today, and 1 is in critical condition right now. Where is the outcry from the administration that when is enough? We've had over 700 deaths on our southern border this year alone. So, the fact that you don't have AOC, those images of her crying in El Paso, Texas by a fence, saying, the children that are in these cages, there's no outcry from the Democrats. You've got Kamala Harris, who's been appointed border czar, who hasn't even come down. She went to El Paso, Texas, but I don't consider going to a tarmac visiting our southern border. But to be honest with you, to tell you the truth, talking to the Border Patrol agents, they are fed up. The morale is so low right now. My husband is a Border Patrol agent serving 26 years to this great country, and he's never seen the border this mess. It's a mess. Even last night, I was leaving an ice cream social in Freer, Texas, interior Duval County, and on my drive home last night, I was witnessing bailouts last night. It's constant every single day. The Border Patrol, they don't have the resources, the manpower to deal with processing every single day. And the fact the administration is turning a blind eye to this, people are fed up. You talk about the economy, you talk about inflation. People are having to make tough decisions, whether to put gas in their car or put food on their table. People are just trying to make ends meet. And the administration is applauding 30 cents, decrease in gas when we were paying $1.87 under the previous administration. It's outrageous. At the end of the day, people are worried about 2G, gas and groceries. Groceries have gone up every single day. And so talking to voters, I'm meeting so many Democrats and just talking about our values. The reason why I'm running for Congress is to defend faith, family, and freedom. When I'm talking to voters and talking about our values, just listening to them about their issues, kitchen table issues, they're telling me, Cassie, no one's come in my home, talked to me about these issues before. I'm voting Republican for the first time for you. So we're talking to the voters all throughout the district. You know, the Democrat Party has left the Hispanic community. They have taken them for granted for so many years, but not anymore. We are paying attention to them. And you know what? I have to applaud the GOP for investing resources in the RNC's Hispanic community centers, like in Laredo, Texas, McAllen, San Antonio, where they're able to connect with the community. We're doing functions. We're doing law enforcement appreciations. We're bringing the community together and talking about these issues that are affecting everyday Americans.
So I hear your passion. I can almost feel it coming through the computer. And that makes me happy, right? Because there are so many people who are just running for Congress because they want to run off to DC, be with the ivory tower elites and look down their nose at the rest of America. But clearly, you're talking about reforms to our education system, to higher education, to offer more opportunities and more, high-paying, quality jobs that folks around the state, doesn't matter any of the 254 counties that you live in Texas, you want the opportunity for you to succeed, your family to succeed, your children to succeed. Right. And that's something that people like Henry Cuellar have honestly lost touch with, But in hearing your passion, hearing your background, you've worked for Ted Cruz, you worked for the agriculture commissioner, your husband's a border patrol agent. For you, Cassy, though, what is one issue that you are truly focusing on? What is an issue that you will take with you when elected to DC and make that your big banner issue that people know you for?
Yeah. So Bruce, people ask me that all the time too, like, oh, what is the one thing you want to do when you get to Congress? The first thing I know we need to do first and foremost is secure and lock down our southern border. You have the administration saying that it is a closed border, and it's not. So that's one of my main priorities there. But education and healthcare are extremely important to me, making sure that we can provide quality healthcare to the people of South Texas. In the 9 counties that I will represent, 4 counties do not even have a primary care physician. So we're lacking those resources. So I want to make sure that we provide that. Education is so important. I'm a product of public education, but I'm also a strong supporter of school choice. I think the dollar should follow the child. I've worked with in my prior career, I've worked with economic development corporations when big companies are coming down and when they're looking for skilled workers, a lot of times we're so focused on a 4-year education that we're not looking at the technical, like welding. You got SpaceX that's invested down in Boca Chica Beach, so I want to make sure that we provide a quality education for all, for children. I'm living the American dream. And to be quite honest with you, it doesn't matter where you go to school, whether it's Harvard, Yale, University of Texas, RGV or UT or Texas A&M. It's the quality of education that you're going to receive and what you're going to do with that. So I want to make sure that every child receives a quality education. And so that's going to be one of my main focus and priorities, and taking care of our people, making sure we're safe, making sure that we provide quality education. And we talk about healthcare, when you lose your job, you don't lose your car insurance, right? You still have your car insurance. So when people lose their job, they lose their health insurance unless they can afford COBRA, which is very, very expensive. And so those are some of my main priorities and issues that I want to work on. I'm developing a 10-point plan. I want people to know what my top issues are and what we're going to be working on. And so I can't wait to share that with you and also to the voters of South Texas District 28.
So when you have that plan released, where's the best place where people can find all that info?
Yeah, so when we do release it, people can go to CassyForCongress.com.
Excellent. So a big conversation that we touched on a little bit here is this red wave that has been projected for almost a year now, right? As every new Biden failure or botched policy rollout happens, it seems like the wave gets a little bit bigger. But for you, as someone who's been living down on the border, has been in the community, working with people to provide opportunities, why do you think there has just been this rise in interest on the Republican side?
Yeah, so it started in 2016. You started to see, there was more, I think people were paying attention. People were getting more involved with the GOP. There was more outreach being invested, resources, being able to tell her message. And you look at Myra Flores, for example, being able to get her message on TV, which can be very expensive, right? And to tell her story in English and Spanish. And that's what we're going to be able to do. 2020, you had, President Donald J. Trump, and people may have not met him, but they felt like he was talking to them. He was supporting them. We had you talk to the Border Patrol agents. They felt like they had a commander in chief who supported them, who provided them personnel, technology, resource for infrastructure to allow them to do their job every single day. We saw the lowest unemployment rates. We were energy independent. The economy was booming. We have one of our biggest trading partners is Mexico, so we're working closely with them. And in my district, we've got the #1 port of entry, 16,000 commercial trucks that are coming through. So we talk about the red wave. We talk about the people that are engaged, that are excited, they're enthused. And I've growing up down there, people wanted to run for politics, wanted to run as a Republican, and they're like, "Oh no, you can't run as a Republican. You're not going to win." But that's not the case anymore. That is not the situation. Now you're seeing more people step up for school board, for state rep, for state senator, running for House. And it's unbelievable to see the investment coming in, from the state side, from the federal side, to say, you know what, there is a movement and you can feel it on the ground. And it's hard to explain to people that have never been down here, but you talk to the voters, they're excited, they're enthused. I say the red wave is alive and well. And it's the same red wave that's going to send Nancy Pelosi packing come this November. So people are thrilled, they're motivated, they're excited, they're getting engaged, involved. They're asking, how do I register? We need poll watchers. And so I've never, and I'm not just saying this, growing up down there, I've never felt this electricity before. It's unbelievable. And people, we're going to see more Hispanics vote Republican. We're going to see more Democrats walk away, vote Republican. In District 28 alone, it's 80% Hispanic. We are pro-life. We are pro-God. We are pro-country. So our values are on the ballot. The issues that the President Biden is ignoring, talking about gas and groceries and a secure border, that's on the ballot come this November. So people can't sit back home and be idle and not, come out and vote. They need to come out and vote. Elections have consequences, and we have to take back the majority. We have to take back this country. We're losing. We need to bring God back into our schools. And I'm so excited to work. And here's another little fact here too. Henry Cuellar has been in office since 2005, but he's been in the political world since I was in kindergarten. And so that's a long time. And I'll be 41 tomorrow, so that just tells you how many years. 41 years. And when we take back this seat come this November, I will be the first Hispanic female conservative to ever represent District 28. And it's not even about that. It's about providing true representation, a new voice. There is a better way forward for the families and communities of District 28. So I can't wait to serve. People think that this is exciting and all, but you give up so much. It's, little things, you're on the road, you're giving up a lot of your family time, but you're doing it because your heart's in the right place. And this, you want to provide I want to help everybody, veterans, moms, dads, landowners, children, law enforcement community. I want to be a voice for everyone.
I mean, where do I go from there, Cassy? You just stepped up to the plate, knock it out of the park. So the one thing that is very important and is my #1 message to Republicans across the Lone Star State is we have to learn from the Democrats in 2020 who were so confident this blue wave was going to happen, right? We're not going to let that happen in Texas. If we want a red wave, we have to build it. So for those who are in CD 28 that have the opportunity to vote for Cassy Garcia, what can they do to help you build this wave?
So everything is, so there's if you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, every dollar will help me get my message across to CD28. And so we ask everybody to go to CassyForCongress.com. If you want to make calls, if you want to come by our office and donate your time there, if you want to block walk, so we are going to be blasting out. We're printing out yard signs and 4x8s, and so T-shirts, and so the best way to help us is to donate and to volunteer your time. We are 74 days away from making history come November 8th, and I can't wait. People are saying that this can't happen. My opponent is saying this is not going to happen. I'm delusional. I'm not delusional. People are excited. They're tired of the status quo. They're tired of him saying all the right things and doing absolutely nothing. He's lost the endorsement from the National Border Patrol Council, who's always endorsed Henry Cuellar. They didn't endorse him in this cycle. They endorsed me because he votes 96% of the time with Nancy Pelosi. Even though everybody says he's a moderate Democrat, he's still a Democrat at the end of the day.
Yeah, they check that box as soon as they show up. Yes, I will do anything Speaker Pelosi says. I will do anything President Biden says, even to the detriment of their constituents. Cassy, you got so many things that you've got to do. You got a birthday party, an office opening to prepare for tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and let you get out of here. But before I do, you've got the office opening tomorrow. What other events do you have coming up? And give the website one more time, social media, all that stuff where people can find you and find out more about your energy-packed campaign.
Well, first of all, I'm so excited to be with you today. We can't wait for the deployment of the wires to CD28. We're so excited about that. We're going to promote that very heavy. Also, we've got another ice cream social coming up next Thursday in Starr County. And so if anybody wants to see what events we've got going on, they just got to go to CassyForCongress/events on our page, and they can sign up to go to any ice cream socials or meetings that we have or barbecues. And so we're so excited. We are, like I said, we're running fast and furious, and we will not sleep until after we celebrate on the 9th, on the 10th. And so we welcome anyone and everyone, and we appreciate the leadership of the Texas YRs, all that they're doing every single day to help candidates with block walking, phone banking, and because of you and together, we are going to win this seat come this November. And I can't wait to work with y'all, and y'all are just fantastic. I just got to tell you that. And it's so great to see so many young people coming out and volunteering and getting energized. So we're so excited. We just filmed 2 days of shooting commercials, and we cannot wait to be in the airwaves come September. And the Democrats are not going to know what hit them. So we're excited.
Well, we are honored just to do our part to help you pack that punch this November. And big ups to Wasim Hernandez, the YR chair, and Michael Salvo, political director, both of them grinding every single day to help build this red wave. Cassy, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you at the deployment.
Thank you so much. Good to be with you.
All right. Thank you again to Cassy for joining us, giving us a little bit of energy going into our weekend, which is important because why? Once again, Texas YRs have statewide deployments coming up. Here's the rundown again in case you missed it earlier. This weekend, August 26th through 28th, we're going to CD15 for Monica De La Cruz. She's going to be on the podcast next week. Looking forward to having her be a guest. September 9th through 11th for Wesley Hunt. This is a national deployment to CD38. We're going to make sure that Wesley gets to Victory Lane this time around. Again, September 9th through 11th. Following that, September 16th through 18th for Cassy Garcia, our guest today. Amazing guest. She's got all that energy. Go down to CD28, find out what she's about, meet her personally, get some of that energy in your life. October 14th, this is a regional weekend of action. You make sure you contact your local YR chapter or your local county GOP club, campaigns, find out what you can do to get involved, go block walking, making phone calls, stuffing envelopes, whatever you got to do to help us build this red wave. October 21st to 23rd, another national deployment to Georgia for Herschel Walker, the candidate for U.S. Senate. We are joining the National YRs for this deployment. They're going to come here for Wesley. We're going to go to Georgia and help out Herschel. Finally, October 28th through 30th, your Congresswoman and mine, Mayra Flores. I mean, she's not really my Congresswoman. I live in Houston. She represents the border. Doesn't matter. I'll still claim her. Mayra Flores, we want to give her a full term, and so we're going to help her as our final deployment of the cycle, October 28th through 30th. Make sure you head to texasyr.gop for information on these deployments and more that we have going on. Make sure you sign up for the deployments. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TexasYRs. And thank you for continuing to tune into this podcast, continuing to listen. We got more candidate conversations coming. Monica's on the podcast next week. We're going to try and get Wesley Hunt ahead of his deployment. So until then, just keep tuning in, share this podcast with your friends, and make sure that they all know that this is the place to get the latest information on the candidates and the campaigns that are happening right here in the Lone Star State. Till next time, friends, we'll see you down the trail.